Hello people of the internet and welcome to week 13 of Industrial Rallycross, where today I'll be driving some destroyed cars. In a variance of means, this is the Burnside Cuban B2 as I call it. It's kind of like an old muscle car from Cuba, and you'll see it's got next to no speed to it. It struggles to hold 60 miles per hour on the ETK circle track thing at the test centre map, and that's because it's got a 4-cylinder engine, since Cuban muscle cars generally don't have very powerful engines because they need to save money on fuel, but they can't afford a new car and all that. Still, we are somehow getting this round the course. It is not quick though. There is a point, I'm not sure if we're hitting the peak torque or something, or power, and it just gets some speed there, but this vehicle is very broken. The suspension is all very broken, and it doesn't work perhaps as well as it could, although it's not as horrible as you might think, probably because we're going so slow. But you'll see it bouncing around a lot despite the low speeds. Now this is incredibly slow, mind, compared to some of the horrible slidey vehicles we've had, like the 200BX Type Z, or Type Z should I say. It's really not too bad. I just need to try and get the dirt section, because these tyres are not great, but on the dirt section it really shows. Brakes are okay. They're probably terrible if you try and load this thing with more power, but given that this car feels like the powertrain isn't even working properly. It is working properly, but it just feels like it's completely broken in some way, meaning the brakes are perfectly fine even if they are broken, and that feels like I'm out of the turbo zone on the Supra, or Prazu should I say, through there. But we have got a decently solid one, and it is a 36.9, wow. Okay, so respective of what this is, it set an incredible time. I mean, just look at this thing from the outside. It's falling apart. They've actually even modelled the chassis to be a lot kind of rustier looking than it regularly would be. I think you can see the inline 4 model as well from underneath there. I'll show you from above in a moment. But we have to remember, this is between the Gavril Racing Baja Racer and the Guan base. It's above the Guan base, might I mention, which is incredible for a absolutely abused 1950s car. Even if in the 1950s this was extremely quick, you only have to look at it to see it should not be as capable as it is. And it's perfect evidence that, at least around this circuit, having a controllable vehicle is far more important than having a quick vehicle. Although, it's not actually quick round here if it's not controllable, so I guess it's an oxymoron. And this bonnet is really tough, especially considering it's a B2 and it's been who knows where over its life. But anyway, we have to move on to the next vehicle, so we shall do that now. Now, here we have a very interesting vehicle. It's the Kabat Cardboard. Yep, we've got a functional aero kit made of cardboard. I decided with the last episode, since the fastest vehicle was a Ibishu Kabat, thus Weiss as perhaps having a point, maybe we should try out their functional cardboard body kit to see just how much quicker it would make the car. We all know it adds some power to the vehicle, but just how much is the question. Come on, well, I think in its base form, this is a Kabat DX, but the body kit makes it far beyond just a Kabat DX, and this actually handles really nicely round here. I don't remember the Kabat handling this nicely. Maybe it's just because I've had so many horrible vehicles that having a lovely front wheel drive grip without excessive understeer is a real lovely thing to get out of this vehicle. Come on. And we've got a bit of understeer, but I've managed to turn that round somewhat. First lap was not that impressive, but remember we have to launch on the first lap, so it's never going to be that impressive. Tyres are feeling good over the dirt, which is always a very nice thing to say. And yep, we've made it past that barrier. Absolutely no problem with this. Well, we should get on the brakes. I don't believe we have ABS here, but it's proving to be no problem again. Although it may get into a pretty bad problem if we have no ABS with a more powerful variant of the Kabat. In this particular variant, we've not got the power to really worry about that. I'm just loving this. It's not quick, but the handling, it's just so graceful. Come on, and floor it round here. Hopefully we can set a quickest time, and we've not. So, here we have the vehicle that we've just driven. It's a Kabat with a Bodykit, but this has added a huge amount of power, which is evidenced by the incredible time, which is just below the Guan V6 Lux with the rear-facing seats. But, more importantly, this is just by 0.003 seconds above the 1980s Pessima touring car, also front-wheel drive. So, yes, we've just proven that Racers are actually correct about the world. No, I don't know what the world's coming to, but if Racers are getting things right, then maybe I'll have to reconsider a lot of things. Yeah, I'm just tearing the Bodykit off just to show you, I would say, but mainly because it's fun, let's be honest. You can't get the door bits off, unfortunately, without tearing the doors off. Ooh, hi door! Anyway, we've got to move on to the next vehicle. So let's do that now. Next up, we have an ETK 854T, which has been stanced. You'll see I've got ESC and traction control off, and this is actually pretty quick if you launch it properly. And that's off the line, but you'll see with the miles per hour indicator in the middle of the instrument dial, if you can see beneath all the wobbling, it's actually getting fairly quick. And that was my stupid mistake there, that I lost control because I wasn't really looking where I was going. But you'll see here, the suspension system isn't great. I want to avoid bumps as much as possible, and whoa, come on, how hard can it be to keep control of this thing? Admittedly, it's lifting wheels left, right and centre, which is not exactly what you want. And, oh, that might have hurt it. Yeah, the steering isn't quite correct. It's still getting round corners, but the steering feels very badly skewed and it's pulling to the left. Or is it pulling to the left? It's not pulling that strongly to the left, but it won't turn to the right very easily. Oh dear. Dearie me. I've got to try, no doubt, to get a good run out of this. And it's not in such a terrible condition it's impossible, but I feel like I may have even taken one of my wheels out. That's the problem with stancing as opposed to having a real suspension system, as I would say. It just doesn't really do the car any good. And it feels pretty nasty around these corners. Not only is it bouncing up now, but I've got the skewed steering to deal with. Oh dear, this is a very awkward line we're taking, but we have made the checkpoint. And we have to try and turn for the next... Oh dear. I've got it stuck. Second lap was not as good as it could have been. First lap was okay. Have I actually destroyed the steering? You'll see that wheel is all over the place. No, so I can probably... I say probably. No, I think we're stuck here. And the time is too far gone for me to really bother taking a third lap by this point. So, I'll have to finish here. Okay, so we've not done too well. You'll see the timer's still going. But as I work out, it's between the Gaffel Racing Baja Racer and the Guan base, which is very, very similar to the Cuban Beta we just had round before this and before the Kabat cardboard. Only it's slightly above that. But really, it's a modern ETK kind of sporty saloon. We can expect more than a 4-cylinder Beta muscle car, surely. Well, apparently not, because this is the first car that has been ruined by the suspension. The Guan with the V6, that did go out because of steering problems, but it wasn't thrown about by the suspension like this. It wasn't limited like this. The problem feels not like it's scraping on the ground, but just like the suspension is so badly set up that it's bouncing all over the place. I mean, that's the point of it. It's a stancer. If they did it well, it wouldn't be a very realistic stancer now, would it? And why am I pulling the tail lights off? I don't know, but there, we've done it now, so we're going to move on to the next vehicle. Next up, we have a Kabat, but no ordinary Kabat. This is the little turtle with a huge cannon, and you have to see it from the outside to just know how crazy this thing is. But it has slightly poor speed, terrible brakes, and it wants to tip over when you hit a corner. Worst of all, we're driving from the interior view though, and as you can see, it's not ideal. Did we avoid hitting the rear wheels on something? I say that because it's a dually axle at the rear. Not what you would expect, but it is a dually. Strange things happen in the BeamNG. But anyway, I have somewhat held it together actually. And we're on the dirt. Yeah, it's hard to tell even what part of the track you are on. Hopefully my voice is amusing enough because you won't be seeing much, that has to be said. I don't know, it feels like it's got slightly awkward handling, but I think it's just because it's wobbling about all over the place as opposed to something actually being broken. And it has quite a powerful turbo engine, I think, from the Kabat Race. So it's a good 170-ish horsepower, but that's no good in this. This vehicle is far too heavy for that. Admittedly, the brakes aren't getting in the way. The brakes, might I mention, they feel better than the grilled cheese brakes Kabat all-wheel drive VT6. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a terrifying moment. I won't show you the outside yet, though, because, again, it's something that has to be savoured. Although I've probably ruined my rear axle there because I did just back into a wall. And it does not feel natural. But we have to get a good third lap, as good as we can really, without something going horrendously wrong. Now interestingly, you can bend up one of the dualies at the rear and it will still drive fine, although you will feel minor handling compromises, shall we say. It is all-wheel drive, so I guess that helps if we bend something up. And we are getting round. It's a way of transportation, I guess. It's designed more for tackling zombies than anything, and we've got no zombies here. It's a pretty safe neighbourhood, so why are we driving this? Because it's fun. But anyway, that's our quickest lap, a 41.777. Okay, with a 41.777 time, I'm slightly scared of this thing actually, because it's become above the 200BX Type Z. That's correct. That was a 42.5, and it's come below the 38.1 second of the CRD monster truck. This is a crazy contraption. Why are Kabats so good around this course? I mean, this is a nightmare to drive. It always was and it always will be, but why is it so capable around this particular course? I can't understand it. And I mean, look at those dualies. They're not exactly understeer defeating rear tyres, are they? I don't know. It's always good to have something interesting, though. Still, we're going to fire this gun that will apparently break our computer. Oh, my hard drive isn't set on fire. And our final vehicle of the day is a slammed Toyota pickup. An older mod, but it surprisingly works perfectly. I didn't expect it, but it's a pleasant surprise nonetheless. And you'll see here, whoa, the driftiness of it. It looks very unpainted as well. I tell you now, it's supposed to be blue, and sorry I'm making a complete mess up of this. It does tend to scrape the the bodywork on the ground, and then the axle, there we go, that's the position of the word, was struggling to get grip, or is struggling to get grip, and then it struggles to put the power down. We actually drifted quite nicely around those set of corners though. Look at that. Oh dear, dear. Ow, my arm. My arm got caught in an awkward predicament there. This thing does like to slide and floor it. Yes, we've kind of got grip. This feels like it wants to drift, though. Oh, oh dear. It's pretty amusing, I'll say that. Now, but it's not a great vehicle to drive in terms of grip or anything. It's definitely amusing. The ETK was just annoying with its stance. This is just fun in a very weird, scary way. We've made it. Wires everywhere. Oh dear. No, don't crash. Yes! I was flooring it out of there as well and it just decided to grip. No! I've thrown it all away. But as I said, it's pretty amusing. Now, I don't believe I've damaged it, so if I can come good on my third lap, right, I think I'm just going to try and be as clean as possible onto the final stretch here, if I can actually find any grip. This thing does not like gripping. Look at all my tyre marks. That's when it's got the wheels on the ground. Okay, we're good. Good onto here. Now we can floor it. Not how I wanted to get up to this corner, but, you know, we did eventually find traction, which is better than not eventually finding traction. Oh dear. I have to suddenly counter-steer. That's the only real way to get grip in this thing. Just very sudden counter-steering and... oh dear. No, I've thrown it all away. It's the slowest vehicle. I did try, I'm sorry. But it just doesn't want to do it. You know? I really hoped for better. I really did. But he just doesn't quite want to grip. If I try and show you the way, I mean, I've got my best lap now, so there's no point trying to really stay with the walls and use interior view and all that. I'm not going to finish in that quicker time. You'll see, it lifts the wheels off the ground. Almost got stuck there. And it just doesn't want to grip. Maybe if I try a variant of this without the rear bodywork, it would be okay. Very slidey, but not as unpredictable. That might be worth a try someday. But still, I'm disappointed in this. But hey, I mean, at least we've set a record. Not the kind of record I want, but you know, it's a record. And we finish. So, there we have it. Our slowest vehicle. I wish it could do better, but there's only so far you can take a vehicle that only wants to slide. It's been proven many times with the Barstow and the 200BX now. They're cars that just don't want to handle, even the Maluch. If a car doesn't want to handle, then it doesn't take this course too nicely, because it's a very handling orientated course. It doesn't want a speed vehicle. Not that this is a speed vehicle, as I say, it's kind of a ruined vehicle, but it's something that we need to think about and hopefully take another variant round before it stops working, because it might be unsupported now, if I recall correctly. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at this and say goodbye until another day.